Good evening. We will now call to order this regular board meeting of Wednesday, January 24th, 2024. May we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Lloyd, Commissioner Winfrey.
Here.
Commissioner Ellenberg.
Here.
Commissioner Brown.
Here.
Commissioner Avery.
Here.
Commissioner Shoemaker. Present. Commissioner Kuznow.
Here.
Commissioner Whitehill.
I am here.
Commissioner Davis.
Thank you. We will now be led in invocation by our Commissioner Charles Winfrey. Would you please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we pray to you today, asking you to uplift all the residents of Genesee County and to our government bodies and elected officials everywhere. We ask that you be mindful to guide our steps and our thoughts as we strive to serve the citizens of this county to the best of our abilities. We ask it all in Jesus' name. We pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. May we have our pledge of allegiance at this time. Thank you all. Next, we'll have approval of our meeting minutes without objection. If we could have them all as one, unless there's other thoughts.
I move all three.
Support.
Okay. Any questions or discussions? All right. For all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Objection, no. All right, motion passes. Next, we reserve a time for our public address, public comments. If we have anyone that's wanting to have a comment, we have a name and address and a matter of 2 minutes for comments. So we'll offer this once, twice, and okay, thank you. Yes.
Hi, my name is Rochelle Nyhouse, and I'm here, I'm from Clio, Michigan. Is there anything else I was supposed to tell you? I forgot. Okay.
That's fine. Thank you.
I was here 2 years ago. I'm here to speak on behalf of my son, Xander Nyhouse. I spoke 2 years ago at this meeting, bringing to your attention that my son was severely injured by a mask that he had to wear at basketball practice at Clio High School. And first off, I want to apologize to some of you. I know some of you were here at the time when I came the first time, and I spoke, and I was hot, on fire, mad because my son's life had been ruined. And here we are 2 years later, and my apologies to you because it is not a certain individual's fault here why my son's life has been ruined. It was a decision made by the state of Michigan that was implemented to my son through the schools and through this commissioner's office that my son was forced to wear a mask for 2 hours during practice. So I just want to go in a little bit about that and then where we're at now 2 years later. We had always told our kids all play sports, and we told them not to wear the masks up, and that's kind of how it went at the schools. They weren't enforced. They kind of wore them under their chin. But the day that my son was at practice, when he collapsed, the athletic director was in the gym, and so he said that they had to be up, so the coach made them wear them up over their nose the entire practice for 2 hours. They had lost the game the day before, so they went on and did what they normally do. They make them run extra killers while their masks are on. And so at the end of practice, my son was up against the wall and couldn't breathe and was dizzy and got home and passed out on the bathroom floor when he got home. My daughter was home with him, and she went in the bathroom after he didn't come out and found him unconscious on the bathroom floor, to where I had to come home and rush him to emergency, and where they started testing to find out what was wrong with him. Now, I didn't know right away that my son had a mask on because I wasn't at the practice, and I talked to the coach, and nobody mentioned the mask. And I think my son was a little bit hesitant and mentioned to me the fact that he had been wearing it because we had an agreement not to. I'm going to ask for a little bit more time because I've been dealing with my son dying for 2 years. So can I get more than the 2 minutes, please?
If it was okay, we have the other 30 seconds, if that would be sufficient? Or,
No,
okay.
I've got.
Okay, go for a minute. Thank you.
I want to start off just by showing you, so you have an idea of my son. He was a straight A student. He was in the aviation program. He was going to the airport at Bristol Road every single day, learning to fly airplanes when his life was destroyed. So his plan was to go to college, and I just brought some props so you could He was a baseball player, 50 home run baseball sitting on a shelf at home. He was planning to go to college to play baseball. His senior year, right after the mask injury and after he was passed out by the mask, he was voted Snowcoming King at the school, where me and my husband had to go in and accept his awards for him, all of his senior year awards. He planned on going to this college. He had it hanging up in his bedroom. Embry-Riddle was his goal. Straight A student, all-star athlete, plans for his life. His school was kind enough to give me his cap and gown. My son was supposed to graduate in June of 2022. I'm not mad at any of you, but my son has $150,000, over $150,000 of medical expenses. He's on disability now. He makes about $900 a month. He has to use about $600 a month in marijuana just to get through a day where he can talk to people. He's been isolated in his bedroom. I haven't been able to work. The last job that I had, I wanted to volunteer here at Carriagetown and Flint, and they couldn't take volunteers at the time, so I got a job with my master's degree in education. I have a sociology degree and a criminal justice degree, and I wanted to help out this community, so I went up and I worked at Carriagetown, making $11 an hour until my son passed out on the floor, and I had to start taking care of him and have not been able to return to work in 2 years. And I've been sitting in a bedroom with my son with no medical care available to us that can touch the level of pain that he has. I would compare it to a prisoner of war style where they did gas chambers in Germany where they killed people slowly. My son has basically been electrocuted to the brink of death. He's lost 60 pounds and his body is now having to rebuild itself back to life without any medication that has been able to even help him increase. It's just pain medication that's like sustaining him while his body comes back to life. We had to drop all the classes. He was dual enrolled in college classes. We had to try to finish out his courses for him just so he could graduate from high school. Never got to go up to the high school to walk for graduation. We didn't get to do anything that, any of that stuff that normal kids get to do. He's got a sister that's now following behind him. She's going to be in her senior year. She's in the exact same age that he was right now. She plays basketball. During this whole time, right after my son got crowned homecoming king on Friday, my daughter got called down to the office on Monday. They called me from being on the floor taking care of my son at home to the school. And they brought me into the office, and they said that a girl on the team had COVID, and that the whole basketball team was now required to mask up. So I asked them to please give me the documents that the legal paperwork that goes with the document that they wanted me to sign for the CARES Act so that they could get their funding for the school so they could proceed with, I don't know who or what the CARES Act is for, but they wanted me to sign a paper saying that my daughter would do the same exact thing that my son was dying on the floor at home from. And then they sent my daughter home because I refused to sign the paper for 10 days. Put her out of school with no instruction. She's already going through living extreme hell at home watching her brother die on the floor. She's at home now, and her grades are changing to E's. Straight A student changing to E's for 4 days until I could get a hold of an attorney to tell them what was going on. Because when we watched the basketball game at night, after the principal had told me after he went through all the legal documentation that is written up from the county here, when we went through all of that paperwork, they said, yes, your daughter will have to wear a mask on the basketball court. And I told them that they could all keep their paperwork and I would take my daughter home because I would not put her in that position. So when we watched the basketball game at night, the entire team played without a mask. And then I had to talk to the principal about that the next day because he told me that my daughter would have to play, but none of the other teammates did. So there was all this alienation, confusion, and chaos, and it all came down from the mandates that were put in by the state into the commissioner's office, into the schools. And now I'm here as a mom, and I'm here, well, like I said, first to apologize because it's not one individual's fault, but I can tell you that I've been through 20 denials from 20 different attorneys because now my son's injuries turned into, he developed a spasm in the roof of his mouth right after he collapsed. It's called palatal myoclonus. Suicidal because it's a nonstop clicking in his head all day long, every day.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. We don't want to be rude. I understand that what you're going through. We just want to make sure that we're consistent with our allowances. Okay.
She didn't have my time.
You gotta say it, say your name.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
John Nyhouse, Genesee County, she can have my time.
This is what we dealt with for, I played this last time, but this is the kind of screaming that my family had to hear all day long. For, he couldn't breathe and he was going through anaphylactic shock.
They're getting you something, baby, okay? They're gonna get something. Hold the handle and squeeze it, okay? Squeeze the handle.
I can't.
You can bite your finger if you have to, or bite that thing or something.
I don't know what happened. I was just doing fine.
It's the Botox, honey. Or you mean your head was feeling better and then it got worse? And that got way worse after the...
It was like, I don't even know how to say it.
Like it got worse all of a sudden just now,
Yes,
or
just now,
since home?
even worse. Like, I don't want to be alive, like 0%.
Oh, honey.
So from there, we had to take him home, and because every time we took him into the hospital, that was the first time that we'd taken him, and since he's developed the spasm, so they treated him with Botox to stop the spasm. The Botox, we didn't know at the time. They told us if he had side effects from that, they could last 3 months and might affect his speech and swallowing, and clearly he was in way worse of a position that speech and swallowing were the least of our concerns. Well, the Botox is the world's deadliest neurotoxin, and it went directly to his brain on the 4th injection. And so my son has been left in a state of now double brain injury from the lack of oxygen from the mask, and now he has a chemical brain injury from the Botox, which has gone through his whole body. He has lost 60 pounds. He looks anorexic. He has such extreme sound sensitivity that he can hardly be around other people. He can't handle the dishwasher at home, the washer. We've had to buy a motorhome just so he can go out there and have quiet time, but the heater out there is too loud. So I'm here for recompense. I'm here because I know that there's fundings available
Thank you.
for nonprofits.
We'll have.
My name is Daryl Simpson.
Okay.
I'm in Davison, Michigan, and I would like to give her my time as well, please.
Okay, and this will be the final because of the length of time, but thank you, sir.
I think I had 30 last time I spoke, just so you know. Like, if,
Okay, we went over the 2 minutes to begin with, but
right, I know
please,
when
yeah.
people added their time last time I spoke, because
Okay.
this is a serious issue that was
It is.
brought on by the state, and so I
Okay,
think that I
please.
deserve a little bit more time.
Thank you.
I don't even know where I was at this point. Yeah, he can't handle the dish, so we had to buy a motorhome for him to go out and just have some peace while I vacuum the floor. While we have the dishwasher running, while we have our washer and dryer running, our son has to go out there, but the heater out there is too loud. He tried to take his life so many times, and he's been suicidal up until about right now. He has spent a lot of time with the Lord, and that is the only thing that's kept him alive. Now, instead of having hopes and dreams of going to college to be a pilot, because this has ruined any chance of that, he now wants to open up a nonprofit foundation, and he wants to start it up, and he wants to call it For the One Foundation. And he wants it to be for people who have severe brain injuries and for other students who have gone through horrible experiences at school where they've either lost a parent or are suicidal. And he wants to have counseling services set up for them and severe just treatment for people who are in severe pain who the doctors turn their backs on. And he just experienced so much on top of all the pain and suffering that he was going through. He realized how humanity can treat you very poorly as well. How he was just, the school did a lot of things that made his journey so much more worse than it should have been. So he wants to make sure that if any other students ever go through any kind of trauma, that they have services available. So he wants to set up a nonprofit. So what I want, why I came here is because I want my son to have a future in front of him, and I don't want to fight for it anymore. I've been fighting for 2 years to keep this kid alive. This kid had so many plans and so much in his future that has been stripped away from him. It's been stripped away from him because of the mask mandate and then medical injustices that have followed. And I I want help. I'm just here for help. I don't want anything. I mean, I'm not personally going, like, it's nobody's fault. I'm just mad at the situation. And I want to know what nonprofit funds are available. I am highly educated. I can write grants, but I want to partner with anybody who has any ideas of what we can do to get some funding for this kid, to get this nonprofit started. And I want it started easily. I don't want to fight anymore.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, next, at this time, we will move on to our communications, and no communications? Okay. Next, we'll move on to our reports of standing committees. We have Board of Commissioners with Resolution 2024-096, approval of request to allocate $1,600,000 in ARPA funding to the Genesee County Senior Center Capital Improvements Program.
Support.
Okay. Before any questions, I would like to just first of all start off with thanking our board for coming together with this. It's very impactful for our community. Also with us making sure that we had all of our districts that had an opportunity to be blessed by this ARPA funding. I'd like to thank the board for coming together in that effort. It's very meaningful to our county. Commissioner Whale.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too support the allocation of up to $100,000 for each of the 16 senior centers here in Genesee County. I've been getting more active with my centers in the 8th District, including the one that I was visiting today in Flushing, and these centers are quite excited. $100,000 in the scheme of things is not a tremendous amount of money, but it's very meaningful for the infrastructure and the buildings that some of our most vulnerable citizens are using. So I'm happy to support the motion and vote for its approval. I want to thank Derek Bradshaw and his team in the Planning Commission for their willingness to move speedily on this. As I understand it, it's not easy to find contractors these days or maybe even get quotes for doing work. And this is going to require work. So for the audience and public at home, this isn't so much for non-tangible kinds of things, but it's really for physical improvements to the 16 senior centers, whether it's ADA compliance or bathrooms or flooring, windows. Each of the centers has a list of things that they've been hoping to get. So I appreciate this commission's interest in this issue and voting for it. Thank you.
Commissioner Ellenberg.
Mr. Chair, I mean, we have Derek here tonight. Could he explain the process? I know he's had the privilege to meet with Senior Center and see how it's going.
Bradshaw. Thank you.
Thank you. Through the chair. Super exciting process, right? Fairly straightforward, fairly easy application. It's going to be for things you can touch, right? A lot of these senior centers really haven't seen significant improvement in quite a few years. And when you go out there, you can see it. Paint, flooring that's torn up, bathrooms in disrepair, right? Not from just there hasn't been money to put into them, right? Even furniture, like there's some pretty rough stuff out there in some of those places. So the idea of, with the allocation of up to 100,000 each of those centers, that gives them opportunity to kind of prioritize so they can come up with what they think is the biggest bang for their buck. And then staff in our office literally will hold their hand through that process. So we have applications that are going to be due in about 3.5 weeks from now, roughly. The one good thing that everybody we've talked to, they already have lists, they're already working on it. Our hope is probably within a month and a half from now, we'll start to see some contracts come back here to the board for those improvements. So super good project, and we had cookies baked for us today, right? So, and nothing shows appreciation if somebody bakes cookies. So,
Mr. Chair, through you to Derek, so you'll be walking them through the process of the bidding and
Yep.
what they can use it for, what they can't use it for. Someone had said earlier when I was talking to him, was there a minimum, like say a project's less than,
right. So we have minimum of $10,000, but keep in mind that's for a project, right? So the project could be multiple items within a room, right? It could be equipment, right? So that's not a minimum thing that could be purchased. It just has to be part of like, I know one center was looking to upgrade the furniture and equipment in a room, right? So just because a desk costs $50, right? Really, in essence, they're probably spending $15,000. So,
but I know when we had talked before that, you'll be holding their hand through the process to make sure that they're spending the money and that it's not coming back to us.
and the goal on this is to, so we understand that not every center has necessarily worked through the federal fund stuff. A lot of them has familiarity because we work with them already on our community development block grant program. So in this process, we're out there meeting in person. We're following up each week. And then the week before the application's due, we're gonna go back out and meet with them again in person. And then even through the process, we're gonna meet with them on a monthly basis. So if they run into something where they have a question, let's get it answered. And even if we're not the people that know that answer, let's look at our resources. And I was very impressed today. A lot of the senior centers have pretty good working relationships, and they're even leaning on each other to kind of help themselves through the process. Like somebody's like, well, I need a bathroom. Okay, well, I'm doing a bathroom. And so, there may be even some opportunities where we can do some joint bidding and stuff, which may save some dollars too, which would be exciting.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Guzman.
Yeah, first of all, there's not much, I guess, after my colleagues asking or making comments, there's not much more I can say other than I've worked with your staff for, this is my, I don't know, 7th year or whatever, and they will, and they do, walk through hand they will do everything for it. And, a number of these municipalities, they don't always have the necessary expertise on how to do these types of grants and et cetera, but our planning commission and his department does, and they'll do everything except for sign the paper at the bottom. And that's just been my experience, but I thank the staff for bringing this idea forward, that something we can do for the entire county across the board. And I want to thank my colleagues for realizing that and the good that it does, and we voted unanimously on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rush. Anyone else? Okay. For a show of approval, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Okay, motion passes. Next, we move to our Community and Economic Development with Dr. Beverly Brown, Chairperson, and Mr. Dale Wayhill as Vice Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The first few items are simply communication purposes. And during our committee meeting, we had a presentation from Communities First. We wanted to understand the body of work that they've been doing in Genesee County over the last 2, 3, 4 years. And having seen and participated in the housing conference that my community college put on about a month or so ago, one of the things that we learned is that there is a shortage of 7,000 affordable housing units in Genesee County. And so Communities First is one of those development organizations that is really doing something about that and attacking the problem. And so we were pleased to learn during our committee meeting that they've invested about $60 million in various apartment complexes and renovating buildings that are no longer in use. And so that's one piece of information we wanted to make the public aware about. The second thing for communications is a Community Mentors Grant. We found out in December that the Federal Home Loan Bank of Indianapolis awarded District 4 of Genesee County a grant of $50,000 in order for us to expand on some economic development initiatives. The grant money will be going toward doing an economic development conference in April that you'll be hearing more about. And finally, the University of Michigan Flint partnership. I wanted to report on that process. We have come up with a format for people to submit programs or potential projects for the committee to consider. And so staff members from the U of M Flint and staff members from the county can put forth a program or an idea that might benefit both institutions or the community as a whole so that we can leverage our resources. And so that form will be forthcoming on Google Forms for people to utilize. So that's all I had for communications. I do also have one piece of new business. We didn't have any old business, but the new business is Resolution 2024-045, which is approval of an agreement between Genesee County and ERG Environmental Services in an amount not to exceed $128,000 to provide for services related to the 2024 Recycle Day events. The cost of this agreement will be paid for from account 2321-735-872-006.
I'll move it.
Support.
Any questions or discussions? For all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Right before we go to our Finance Committee, if you wouldn't mind, we just need maybe a few minutes just to pause and reset our computer system. It may be on the blink, and so if we would be patient with us for just a few minutes here. Okay, thank you for your patience. Wanted to make sure everyone at home was able to see our meeting for today. Okay, next we have our Finance Committee with Martin Cousineau, Chairperson, Dr. Beverly Brown, Vice Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Resolution 24-002, approval of a request to create, post, and fill 4 interim positions at Genesee County's Information Technology Department to be paid from the following account and related fringe accounts.
Okay, we have motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
I move Resolution 24-004, approval of a request to create, post, and fill 1 user support technician at Genesee County's IT department to be paid from the following account.
Support.
Okay. We have motion and support. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I move Resolution 24-005, approval of a purchase order to various vendors for the fiscal year ending 2024 in an amount not to exceed $1,002,500 to provide for the purchase of pharmaceuticals at Genesee County's Health Department. The cost of this purchase order will be paid from the accounts listed.
So moved.
Okay, we have motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
I move Resolution 24-006, approval of a purchase order to various vendors for the fiscal year ending in 2024 in an amount not to exceed $272,500 to provide for the purchase of medical supplies at Genesee County's Health Department. The cost of this purchase order will be paid from the accounts listed.
Support.
Okay, we have move and support. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Move Resolution 24-009, approval of a request to create, post, and fill one secretary position at Genesee County's Health Department. This is a grant-funded position.
Support.
Okay, we have motion and support. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Move Resolution 24-010, approval of a request to create, post, and fill one public health nursing supervisor position at Genesee County's Health Department.
Support.
Okay, we have support. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Move Resolution 24-013, approval of an agreement between Genesee County and Complete Corporate Solutions in an amount not to exceed $85,000 to provide for the staffing of a data center engineer. The cost of this agreement will be paid from the account as follows.
Support.
Okay, we have move and support. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Move Resolution 24-014, forwarding to receive and file a copy of the paid county bills for the weeks ending 11/12/23, 11/19/23, 11/26/23, 12/3/23, and 12/10/23 in a total amount of $23,498,013.88.
Support.
Okay, we have move and support. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Move Resolution 24-018, approval to enter into an agreement with Centus for mat replacement and other services in an amount not to exceed $34,738.65.
Support.
Okay, we have support. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Move Resolution 24-019, approval of a request to create, post, and fill 3 seasonal positions at Genesee County's Park and Recreation Commission. Looking for support.
Support.
Okay, we have a support. All right. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Move 24-020, approval of a request by Genesee County's Park and Recreation Commission to travel to the 24 Keep America Beautiful National Conference in San Diego, California. The dates of travel are February 12th through the 14th and 24. The total cost of travel for one staff member is not to exceed $2,500. The cost is grant funded.
Support.
Okay, we have support. Yeah, question, discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. How many people are we sending to this?
One.
Just one. Just the one?
It's there in the resolution.
Oh, I see, I didn't know.
Okay.
The cost of travel for one person could be, that's one person, we're sending 3 or 4. I just wanted to verify, so thank you very much.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Show of approval. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Move Resolution 24-027, approval of request by Genesee County's Park and Recreation Commission to travel to the 2024 M Parks Conference and Trade Show in Kalamazoo, Michigan. The dates of travel are February 27th through March 1st, 2024. The total cost for 6 employees is $7,200. The cost of travel will be paid from the following account.
Support.
Okay, we have support. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Move Resolution 24-029, approval of a purchase order to Vigilant Solutions LLC for the fiscal year ending in 2024 in an amount not to exceed $33,090 for the purchase of 2 mobile license plate reader systems. The cost for the purchase order will be paid from the following account.
Support.
Okay, we have support. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Move Resolution 24-052, approval of a proposed budget amendment to the 23-24 appropriations resolution for various line items as described in the attached budget adjustment form.
Support.
Request.
We have support. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Move Resolution 24-053, approval of a request from Genesee County's treasurer to borrow against anticipated delinquent 2023 real property taxes.
Support.
We have support. Any questions? Okay, with this vote will be required with a roll call.
Yes.
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 Thank you all.
I move Resolution 24-083, approval of a request to create, post, and fill one full-time physical analyst 2 position to be paid from the account as follows and related fringe accounts.
Support.
We have support. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Finance. Next, we'll move on to our Governmental Operations Committee. Dale Wayhill, Chairperson, Dorica Lloyd, Vice Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have Resolution 2023-909, approval of a contract between Genesee County and Genesee Health Systems in an amount not to exceed $47,145 to provide for services for Genesee County's mental health court. The cost of this grant-funded agreement will be paid for from account as follows.
Support.
We have support. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Apologies for my frog-like voice. I feel like the bailiff from Night Court. I have a cold. Resolution 2024-001, approval of Tri-Share program in an amount not to exceed $150,000 to provide for a trial child care program for Genesee County employees.
Support.
We have support. Any questions or concerns? Yeah,
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner.
could Anita come up and explain this program and some information on this? Or both of them? Yes.
Commissioners, Danielle Wenzel, Deputy Director of HR. I'll just stand here
You-
because she's really been the one. Really excited for this program and your consideration for this program tonight. So I had a meeting yesterday with the Tri-Share, and they said the state of Michigan officials had contacted them with the MLive article that this was being considered at tonight's meeting. I asked, they were really excited. I said, are there any other counties that are participating? And they said, there are not. You would be the first. So we are all on pins and needles on the state level to see if this is approved tonight or not to assist our employees.
For the, the audience, could you explain what this program is and what it's going to do?
Sure. So the Tri-Share program is a state program to assist qualifying employees with the cost of childcare with a licensed childcare provider. So it can be their current childcare provider. Tri meaning the cost is split 3 ways. The state of Michigan pays a third, the employee pays a third, and then us as the employer would pay the remaining third.
So can I continue? So will this possibly get some possible more money from the state to be able to maybe pick up a bigger share?
At this time, as far as I'm aware, no, that they pay the 1/3. So it is a pilot program for the state.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Maker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through the chair, how many children or families do you think will be affected and be able to participate in this program then?
For our employees, a few months ago, I think it was late fall, we did a survey, and it was approximately 68 children was what the survey concluded.
Commissioner.
How long, a year, you think, or is it 6 months, or how long will they be able to support that then?
So we've asked for the $150,000 to pilot it here and see how it goes, because we're not sure what the participation will be. As far as the state's length of time, I'm not sure on that because it's a state program.
How long do we have to spend the funds then? Do we know that?
How long?
How long? Yes.
Until they're exhausted. When I did speak to them yesterday, we can set it up as the employer. We would have the ability to set that limit, that once that $150,000 is gone, that is our initial budget. Sure.
This isn't a grant that we're receiving where we get a lump sum of money to spend. This is a program that the state runs and where you would be voting tonight just to be a participating employer. So the state has their funding and then we have to determine what we're willing to fund our third. So we can, if you approve it tonight, we're setting aside $150,000. If we run out and you want to provide more, you can. The state doesn't limit us until at some point they run out. I don't know that they have.
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
Thank you for elaborating on that. I appreciate it. If I may, Mr. Chair. So a couple other questions. One, obviously the budget was passed early in the year. This is budgeted? We knew this was coming, or?
No, this was not included in the budget, so if this is adopted tonight, this would be an additional appropriation to the budget for this year.
Okay. Next thought to the board, and I appreciate you, thank you so much, is obviously we have union contracts coming up this next year for negotiation. You know, we've had the increase the last 2 years of wages, and obviously with the cost of inflation to keep employees, we know that's going to have to increase. You know, and I'm always concerned with the budget. I understand this is a great idea to try to secure some employees and offer them something additional that other employers can't to keep them and retain them. So I'm kind of in favor of it. So I have one other question, though. Which funds is this going to actually come from then?
So this will be out of our fund balance.
Okay. All right. Thank you then. Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Chair, it's my understanding that there are a number of other child care programs that if our employees don't fall into the eligibility requirements for TRISHARE, that we will be able to refer them to, that they can potentially get access, because there's an income eligibility for this. Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
So that was part of my conversation yesterday with TRISHARE. They will take care of everything. If they don't qualify, they will get them set up with other applications for other things they could qualify for based on that. So they would take care of it, walk the employee through that process to see what they're qualified for if they don't qualify for TRISHARE.
Right. And I'll just repeat what I said at the committee meeting, that along the lines of what Commissioner Shoemaker alluded to, that you know, we want to make ourselves an employer of choice for people who have choices. And I think one way of doing that, and to me it's sort of a small step right now just to see what happens. We're paying a third of the child care up to $150,000, and then the state will bring in their $150,000, and then the individuals who want children in child care will pay that third of it. So I'm for it, and I'm hopeful that people will take advantage of it and find good placements for their young ones. Thank you.
Thank you.
What else? Commissioner Brown.
I think it's a wonderful opportunity for us to be trailblazers, if you will, with a new innovative program to help Genesee County attract talent and to keep talent. So I'm in favor of it. The one thing that I would mention would be to really just monitor it. If we have about, I think you said 68 families that might take advantage of it, or 68 children, I would encourage us to pay attention to the usage and the talent and who we might attract and why we're attracting them, to see if this particular carrot actually makes a difference in keeping talent and attracting talent. So I don't know how you can put that on your radar in terms of evaluating the program effectiveness, but I'm always interested in return on investment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioner?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, with the motion still on the floor, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
We have Resolution 2024-016, approval of an agreement between Genesee County and Warner Norcross and Judd LLP in an amount not to exceed $60,000 to provide lobbyist services on behalf of Genesee County. The cost of this agreement will be paid for from account as follows.
Support.
We have support. Any question or discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
If we could have Mr. Freeman, I know it was successful last year, and kind of list out what the benefits were of the taxpayer since we're spending their money.
Yeah, I think the biggest example was the $3 million we got for the prosecutor's office. So, you know, we spent about $60,000 in lobbyists, and, you know, was able to turn that $60,000 into $3 million through the prosecutor's office. He did some work partnered with some other people for some work in the drains office, but I can put my finger on $3 million that was directly affected by hiring this firm.
Thank you.
This is budgeted in the current year budget.
Okay. Any other questions? Oh, Commissioner Kuzno.
Yeah, and I think that, I requested that we meet these people, and I know Mr. Freeman is in the process of setting that up and bringing them in so we can ask them questions.
Okay. Anyone else? Show of approval. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
We have Resolution 2024-059, approval of a request by Genesee County's Office of the Prosecutor to travel to the Carpal Solutions User Group meeting in St. Louis, Missouri. The dates of travel are April 2nd through the 4th, 2024. The total cost for 5 employees not to exceed $10,000. Funding for this travel will be paid for from the account listed in the resolution.
Support.
We have support. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Mr. Whale, any communications for your chair committee?
Well, I'll just say it's not it's a communication of me, I guess, to you all. As Chair of Government Operations, I took Mr. Freeman up on his email about help with refining the Corporation Counsel job description, which is almost 20 years old for Genesee County and is in need of updating, and also working with him on a draft process for not only that position in terms of filling it, but also other positions that are like positions at that level in our organization. All of our work will come to you as chair in draft form, and then eventually in a draft form to the 9 members here to discuss.
Thank you for your work. Appreciate it. Okay. Next, we'll move on to our Human Services Committee. We have Charles Winfrey, Chairperson, Sean Shoemaker, Vice Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move Resolution 2024-011, approval of an agreement between Genesee County and the Greater Flint Health Coalition in an amount not to exceed $500,000 to provide Medicaid outreach services. The cost of this agreement will be paid from the following account with a 50% reimbursement from Medicaid.
Support.
Okay, we have support. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
I move Resolution 2024-015, approval of an agreement between Genesee County and the Greater Flint Health Coalition in an amount not to exceed $221,930 to provide for an examination of emergency medical services in Genesee County. The cost of this agreement will be paid from the following account.
Support.
We have support. Any questions? Mr. Shoemaker, and then we have, okay, Commissioner Kuzno.
Go ahead, John.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have several with this. One, if Mr. Freeman could first start by explaining how we've actually came up with the idea and the need for this resolution.
Yep, and also Jim Ananick from the Greater Flint Health Coalition is here, and he can fill in any gaps or answer any questions you may have as well. I think many of you have gotten calls from or had discussions with local units of government about response times for ambulances, and we know that there's an issue in the county, but we don't know how we could most effectively direct resources to help address that problem, right? We also know that this issue is often a sticky wicket politically for commissioners, so we thought that we'd get an independent third party to kind of come in, bring some experts to the table. So from Michigan State University, who else, Jim? Is it all Michigan State? And U of M to come in, gather the data, talk to all the stakeholders in the process, and bring some recommendations to the board so that this board can make decisions based on reality versus perception maybe of what the problem is.
If I may, Mr.
Yes.
Can we elaborate on what we think they're actually looking for? What our goal is from this study?
Yeah, so I think our goal from this study is to provide you options, right? options to make response times better, to make service better to residents.
Okay. Real quick, and then I got a couple others that are probably a little longer. I talked to you earlier, and I just want, for the record, we said to not go out for bid. Nope. To do this, okay. And then when you say third party or somebody out, I have several of my municipalities that are very concerned that this is very political. And, they've expressed their concern over the last week to me since this was brought up. And I'm a little concerned with it too, one, because it didn't go out to bid, obviously. And two, that leads to, there are political forces in everything, whether we want them or not, when boards are involved and so on and so forth. And some of those people who sit on that board do have relationships with certain ambulance services. So I would, and I don't know how the rest of the board would feel about this, but and I'll let Commissioner Kuzma talk, but after he talks, I'm going to bring up a motion, just we postpone it for a bit so we can look into this a little more. Because in my community, we didn't have to do a study, didn't have to do it, like Fenton Township is an example. Fenton Township switched and signed a contract with an ambulance service, and they took their response times from what their fire chief is telling me from 13 minutes to 7 minutes. No taxpayer dollar was spent. They were proactive and did what they were supposed to do. And their response to their supervisor is, tell them to call me, I'll tell you, I'll do it real quick. Instead of spending that money. And he said he'd do it for $10,000 instead. So he was joking, obviously. But the fact is I do have a little concern that it's going to be a little political. So for me right now, on top of it, it's a little shaky. Plus spending $200,000 without getting a bid is always, for me, a little, questionable. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Maker. Commissioner Kuzma.
Since the first of last year, I started looking at this because I had many people expressing concerns, and I still receive those. So I've been talking behind the scenes a little bit, looking at how EMS works, how 911 works, et cetera, and it's an extremely complex system. And I dare say there isn't anybody that sits on this board that's capable and have the expertise to say that, to study that. So I have been, pushing for some type of third party for a year. And this is one option, and I encourage it. I do not, we're talking about lives, and I do not want to postpone this. It's something that's been worked on and looked at by me for over a year now, and it needs to be addressed now. I don't have any problem with the 200,000. I don't know right now if there is anybody else capable of doing it. It is extremely political. You touched on a little bit of it, and how it's not fair across the county. And a lot of people are expressing that some of the procedures that are being followed are not according to state statutes. And of course, you have attorneys on both sides saying, no, they're following this proper state statutes. And so it's just a matter of us who are not attorneys trying to figure out who's right and who's wrong. And, that's where, you have judges, But any rate, it is political and extremely political. And, and I uncovered some of those layers of the onion, and I don't want to go into it here publicly, but that's why I fully support the Health Coalition. Jim can, former Senator Ennick can explain some of that, but it's going to be a long process for the two universities to go out and look at this issue and come up with ways to possibly, I don't know, maybe they can't, but possibly improve it for the whole county. Not Fenton, not Clio, the whole county. And that's my concern, and I do know that some of the communities at their expense have gone out and they got the money to do it. Yeah, and they've done that, but then when you start pulling back the layers, that has created problems for other parts of the county. And not getting as much service as what they need. So I'm very much for this, and I will vote no to postpone it, and I will vote to move this forward. But go ahead, I'm done.
Commissioner Shoemaker, review.
Well, I thank you, Commissioner Kuzno, for where you come from. I appreciate it, even though we disagree on this.
Oh, yeah, it's just discussion, that's all.
I agree that I would like to see something done to look into this, but we've dealt with this issue since, well, my first year down here, I think in 2019, I think is when we had a meeting in that room next door over a very similar issue. And this has been out there, and it went to the point where municipalities have taken it into their own hands to do what they feel is best for their residents. Mine are concerned with the fact is they will lose the ability to choose what's best for their residents. You know, and my job is, yes, I am to represent the county as a whole, but guess what? When those people go in the ballot, they are not voting for you or me when they vote for us to represent the entire county. They are voting for us to represent them. And I will represent my district that way. So that being said, I would like to put the motion on the floor to postpone. I mean, I think we could have everything resolved within 2 weeks by the next meeting we would have. So that's my motion. If I could get a second, I would appreciate it.
We have a motion on the floor, looking for support. Motion on the table, look for support.
I will ask you this before I say one thing. For those of you who have been here, when you have been concerned with holding something up, I have always been a friend to it because I want to make the right decision. So I've been frustrated before when I've asked for this because when it's your way and you ask me as a colleague to look into something, I allow you that time, and I'm just asking for the time. And the reminder, again, it's not our dollars. They're county taxpayer dollars, and we should be looking to make sure we spend everyone as fairly, as financially responsible as we can. So.
Okay, so we have a motion. Any support? Okay, without support, motion fails. And any other? Yeah, so we have still a motion on the floor. Any other discussion beforehand? Okay.
Are you asking for discussion?
Yes.
Okay, on the main motion. That's what we're on. Okay. I just wondered if, I don't know if Jim might want to approach the podium and walk through sort of the elements of what the plan is. And I know he's not going to be the one doing the actual work on this, but he's got staff and others, obviously, at the universities that were referred to. We saw probably a month and a half or 2 months ago the plan, at least some of us did in committee. It's been posted online for a couple of weeks, I would think. And there's a lot of detail in there and a timeline and what the outcomes would be, so it's not as if that hasn't been publicized. So I wonder if you might just review it at a high level for us and talk about what the outcomes will be.
No problem at all, and I appreciate the time, and I appreciate the questions from the commissioner, I do. And I'll make sure that I, myself, and the team that's working on it are available to you, and in particular, the folks in your community, so that they feel comfortable. And actually, we're going to need their information, their knowledge, their data. We're basically a facilitator. We're helping to bring together MSU and U of M, kind of almost coordinating those PhDs and MDs to sit down with folks and get to the bottom of the process. The processes of how we're doing it. Like you said, maybe your community is doing it really well. And how can we replicate that in other communities? What areas, where's there holes? Where is there deficiencies? And the first phase, the first large phase, is stakeholder engagement. So those communities, the 911, Brewster Vithigan, the Medical Control Board, basically the hospitals, anybody in the system will have ample opportunity to have interviews and to have their, the things that they think they're doing well, and basically just as much information as possible. And we have committed to come here on a regular basis and make sure we give updates. And if there's concerns, you can call me personally. I promise that I'll I'll make sure that if you see any bias or anything like that nature, we'll do the best we can to stop that from happening. Because the point is just to get an accurate assessment of the system to provide to you, and you guys can make decisions what you want to do with that. And I'm not sure if there's any other questions you may have, but I do appreciate your thoughts on it and your opinion on it. And I want to make sure that whatever happens here, that afterwards I'm available to you to make sure that you have, yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. For approval, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Yeah, thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, I move Resolution 2024-017, approval of an agreement between Genesee County and the Genesee County Medical Control Authority in an amount not to exceed $125,000 annually to provide for operations of the Medical Control Authority from October 1st, 23 through September 30th, 26.
Support.
Okay, any questions or discussions?
Mr. Chair, I'll say that this issue, I mean, we're talking EMS on both of these resolutions, but this one is a very specific organization that I think adds a lot of value in terms of protocols and support for municipalities, improvements in the provision of EMS services. Had an opportunity over the past couple of months to talk quite a few times with Bruce Trevithick at the Medical Control Authority. In fact, he was a guest at a coffee that I hosted for constituents in my district in Flushing on Martin Luther King Day to answer their questions about what he does in the system. And so I'm happy, the bottom line I think is I'm happy that we can guarantee them not just annual funding where they have to keep coming back every year, but it's 3 years worth of funding for this organization at a level that allows them to operate as they have been without any cuts in staff, without any cuts in services or programming, and the option for them to return to us if they need additional dollars over and above their operating budget for special circumstances. I know that Bruce is concerned about succession planning, and making sure there's the ability to have some overlap between him, a long-standing employee, and any new person in that role. So he knows to come back. He also knows that he needs to get to 5, at least, votes out of us for money. So that's clear as well. But I think for a small amount, I think that this organization is providing a powerful punch in terms of quality for EMS in our county. So I'm happy to support this.
Thank you. Commissioner Kuzno.
Just adding on to what Commissioner Wayhill said, this EMS services, it's funded by numerous people, well, the hospitals and us. And it's really kind of an envy of a lot of other counties, even larger ones than us to the south. They don't have this. And what allows us to have this committee, this service to train people is the EMS millage or the emergency medical millage, 911 millage, whatever you want to call it. It's not 911, it's the
Emergency medical services.
yeah, a lot of people call it the paramedics or something, I don't know. But anyhow, it's that millage that allows us to do this and to provide a service that many counties larger than us don't have. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Schumacher.
For public record, could Mr. Freeman he does a great job explaining how this got started and who is supposed to be participating in this and how it's supposed to work, so the residents know why this is important and what it is, if we could.
Yeah. So state law mandates that local hospitals fund and create a medical control authority. At some point, Genesee County got involved with funding. My understanding is at one point, Genesee County provided all the funding. But our most immediate past has been where Genesee County provides 50% of the funding through our emergency services millage, and the 3 local hospitals split the other 50% in terms of funding.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
I move Resolution 2024-022, approval of an agreement between Genesee County and Genesee Health Plan in an amount not to exceed $5 million to allow Genesee County to provide a health care service delivery system for uninsured, low-income residents of Genesee County. The cost for this agreement will be paid from the health services millage.
Support.
We have support. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I move Resolution 2024-040, approval of a request to accept carryover Great Start Readiness Program funds and authorize expenditures in the amount of $107,494.
Support.
We have support. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
I move Resolution 2024-041, approval of modification number 4 of an agreement between Genesee County and Oakland Livingston Human Services Agency in an amount not to exceed $107,145.21 to provide programming for Genesee County's Great Start Readiness Program.
We have support. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Commissioner Winfrey, any communications from your committee?
No communications.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move on to our Public Works Committee, where we have Ellen Ellenberg as chairperson and Michelle Davis, vice chairperson.
I move Resolution 2024-003, approval of a purchase order from CXT Incorporated for the fiscal year ending 2024 in the amount not to exceed $79,251 to provide for purchase of accessible double vault style restrooms. The cost of this purchase is budgeted and will be paid from the following account.
Support.
Okay, we have support. Any questions or discussions? Commissioner Schumaker.
I apologize because I missed the subcommittee meeting on this. What is a double vaulted restroom, for my knowledge?
Patrick's coming up, but it's an outhouse. Two-seater.
It's a two-seater.
All right, so this is a similar style of vault toilet that you see in our other parks. That is a modular concrete structure, and it has a male and a female, and it is a pit-style toilet. So this is going with our grant that we got from the Trust Fund for Richfield Park up front, where we are doing the parking lot at the BMX track.
You guys sent this out for bid?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's through Sourcewell.
Okay. Anyone else? Thank you for the eloquent description compared to Mr. Freeman's there. Thank you. Okay. Okay, with no other questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Resolution 2024-007, approval of a request by Genesee County Information Technology to travel to the 2024 NACO Legislative Conference and the CIO Forum in Washington, D.C. Total cost for the CIO not to exceed $3,210. Funding from this request is budgeted and paid from the following account.
Support.
We have a support. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Resolution 2024-008, approval of a purchase order to various vendors for the fiscal year ending 2024 in the amount not to exceed $63,000 to provide for the purchase of tires at Genesee County Motor Pool. The cost of the purchase will be paid from the following account.
Support.
We have a support. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Resolution 2024-026, approval of a purchase order to Delta Railroad Services for the fiscal year ending 2024 in the amount not to exceed $83,000 to provide for the purchase of one reconditioned narrow gauge tied crane. The cost of the purchase order will be paid from the following account.
Support.
Okay, we have support. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Commissioner Berg.
Resolution 2024-031, approval of a restrictive convent for the motor pool property.
Support.
Okay, we have support. Any questions or discussions? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Can I get a little more explanation on this one?
Yep, we've got in-ground fuel tanks there, and we had a bit of a spill. And as this was a couple years ago, as part of that agreement, and in the cleanup, we're required to record a deed that says there were in-ground fuel tanks there.
Commissioner Kuzma.
Yeah, basically, it's my understanding, it's just a standard state statute that we have to do this. It's not really an option.
Yep.
Anyone else? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Commissioner Ellenberg, any communications?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I could, I'd like to thank the Planning Commission. The last few weeks, we've been working on a couple situations that some residents needed some help, and we were kind of like, didn't know who to call, so we called Derek from Planning, and his team went out and basically helped like an 80-year-old woman that had her well no longer was in use, and so, and her daughter her granddaughter has a terminal cancer, so she had a lot of headache going, so they were able to get this all taken care of with some of the grant and some of the fundings that they have to help individuals. And she fit all the criteria, and Nicole was out there every day making sure that she, filled out all the paperwork right, and basically tomorrow they're supposed to go out and drill her a new well. And I talked to her this evening, and she's just, every time I talk to her, she cries. So that's what we can do in Genesee County, and that's why we're all here, is to be able to help individuals that can't help themselves. So, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we move on to our unfinished business. We have Resolution 2023-300, approval of purchasing policy update.
Mr. Chairman, you'll remember late last year, we brought an update to our purchasing policy to the board. And at that time, Commissioner Winfrey had asked that we postpone it, send it back to the DEI Commission for some DEI language. Took a minute to get that wordsmith by Corporation Counsel, and it is included in the beginning of the policy now.
If you'd like for me to read it, I can.
What's the amount was there amount?
No, there's no amount attached to it. It's just a statement, a DEI statement that we would like to see included in all previous and future policy statements. And for this particular department, it just reads as follows. The purchasing department is working to build a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive process that mirrors the Genesee County Board of Commissioners' commitment to DEI principles, and that reflects the communities we serve, including but not limited to establishing a vendor pool that mirrors the diversity of Genesee County, becoming more intentional in providing the community, including minority business enterprises, women business enterprises, and disadvantaged business enterprise firms with requisite information and tools for effective participation in Genesee County's requests for bids and proposals for goods and services, and seeking to reduce barriers for applicants and increase the capacity and potential pool of bidding firms by offering capacity building workshops to better prepare those firms for procurement opportunities.
Thank you, Commissioner Winfrey. Any other questions to that note? Okay. Well, now we'll have motion approval. All those in favor? Make a motion. I'm sorry, that wasn't made a motion, so we need a motion on the floor, please.
So moved.
Okay, and support. Now,
Can
we
I-
have yes.
I just want to congratulate Commissioner Winfrey and Commissioner Shoemaker. I know they both serve on the DEI Commission, and the DEI Commission has been working hard to put together something like this. And I appreciate the fact that they have reviewed the policy and have updated the policy to make it relevant to reflect our views. So thank you to the Commission.
Anyone else to add? Okay.
I'll just say, I mean, anytime that we can open things up and be more inclusive for folks who are running companies, who want to do business with Genesee County, who may not have been considered in the past or overlooked or just aren't aware the opportunities. I think it makes for a more, obviously a more diverse pool, but also competition is a good thing. So having more people interested in doing the work, especially when everyone's invited to the table, is something that we would want.
Thank you. Okay. Show approval. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. With that, I believe there's no new, or Melissa, any?
I have something.
Ms. Lynn, oh, sorry.
Just for those that knew B.B. Nolan, tomorrow at 10 o'clock at Bernston Fieldhouse, he's having MTA is dedicating a bus stop in his honor. And so they will be doing a presentation at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning if anybody'd like to go down. This was a passion of B.B.'s. He sat on the MTA board, was the chair of MTA for many years. And to make that program as successful as it is was a lot because of B.B. So anyway, if you'd like to come down and kind of memorial and think about him, that would be great. So thank you.
Thank you for that reminder, Commissioner. Anyone else? Okay, with that, this meeting is now adjourned.